Hi, I am Jude. Welcome to my Java programming course. In this video, we are going to learn everything about variables in Java programming language. This video is part of a complete Java course I have published on YouTube. If you are interested in becoming a Java expert, I would highly encourage you to check out the rest of the videos as well. In today's world, data plays a significant role. In our day-to-day life, you and me make measurements or observations all the time. And the result from those two actions are actually the data. Data can come in the form of numeric, textual, video, audio, or photograph, or even any sort of unstructured formats. Once you have the data, you need to capture them and store it for later processing. That's why we have in any programming language the concept called variables. Variables are named containers for storing changeable data. We know our world changes every second. That means the measurements or observations that you made in last second will not be the same if you do the measurement and observation right now. That means data has changed. Therefore, variables should accommodate this changeable behavior of data. That's why I said variables are providing this facility to change the data over time. Imagine I have a cup. I want to put some liquid into that cup. More specifically, I put water. This incident is more like assigning data into a variable. Variable in this case, it's the cup. Value or the data, it's the water here. It is denoted as the variable name and the value on the right hand side. For this instance, I picked the name as the letter X. You can provide any name as you wish when you create variables. But for this simplicity, I picked the letter X. We have the variable being called as X, and the assign or the equal sign denotes the assignment or putting the data into that variable. In this case, the value is number 30. Now I want to change from water to some other liquid like orange juice. In this case, what I need to do is I need to refer the variable by the name, which is X, and I'm going to assign the new data, which is the number 98. In our day-to-day life, we have different sizes of mugs, jars, and barrels. Those are for different purposes. In software development also, we have this particular scenario. That's why we have different sizes of variables for different purposes. In Java, we have 8 different variable types. You must remember because as a good developer, you need to pick the most suitable, correct data type when you are creating variables. When you are creating variables, the first thing you need to decide is what kind of data, the data type that you must select. Out of these 8 types, you need to pick one. I have listed down the all 8 variable types according to their sizes in the memory allocation. I've represented that at the bottom of this slide with a cup size. As you can see, Boolean is the smallest cup size and long and double is the biggest cup sizes here. Now in Java, when you are creating variables, you must follow this particular structure. Before even creating a variable, you must have a clear understanding about your data and what kind of data that you are going to store in that particular variable. According to that, you have to pick one of the 8 existing data types in Java. That is what it denotes as the first part here as the data type. It can be either Boolean, integer, and like so on. Then you can give a name for your variable, followed by the equal sign, then the data value. According to the data type, you must provide the data value. And then don't forget the semicolon at the end. In Java, when you are creating variables, you can also break down the previous style into 2 different statements. First, we declare the variable without a value. Later, we assign or initialize the value to the variable. At the beginning or when we are declaring the variable, Java automatically assigns a default value according to the data type. But when you are providing or initializing the variable, that default value will be disappeared. Did you know that your computer is a highly advanced calculator? Yes, it is a calculator. Underneath all of these software and everything, there are mathematical operations happening all the time. So in a mathematical operation, we have operators and operands. When we take an example of 1 plus 2, number 1 and number 2 are called as operands. And the plus sign or the summation mark, we call it as the operator. Operators can be divided according to the number of operands occurred in that expression. Therefore, we can categorize as unary, binary, and ternary. That means unary has only one operand, binary has two operands, and ternary has three operands. So in any programming language, we have these following operators. Operators help us to define mathematical operations. When it comes to programming, we oftentimes use operators combining with variables. You will see this with a few examples ahead. My dear students, when you are writing programs and developing software, you need to write comments inside your source code. Basically, that allows you to be more descriptive about your source code and give us more clarity to the reader. In Java, we have three kinds of comments you can write on your source code. First one is single line comment, which is basically starting with 2 forward slashes. The entire line will be ignored for the execution phase. And we also have multi-line. If you want to have a block of a comment, you can use this multi-line comment block. It starts with forward slash and a single asterisk, followed by every line has to have asterisk at the beginning until the end of the block. Then we also have something called Java doc, which is specific for classes and methods. When we have the Java doc, you should remember it starts with a forward slash and two asterisk marks. I encourage you to use comments because you can express your thought process when you are developing a software. Let's create a Java file so that we can learn how to create variables and how to manipulate those variables. I'm going to open a text editor on my computer. You can use any text editor. That can be Notepad or Notepad++, text editor or VS Code editor, any code editor that you like. And then type the following content. Then I'm going to save that file under my documents folder. It can be anywhere you like. I'm going to name this file as box.java. Please note, I call this box because I use the word box after the public class, this class name. As you can see by the editor, it identifies this is as a Java language source code file. So that's why the syntax has been highlighted automatically. It's completely fine. You don't have this same syntax highlighting in your editor. It depends on the editor that you use. So don't worry much about the syntax highlighting. We will get to a point that I will encourage you to use an IDE, but at the moment, it doesn't matter which text editor you are using as long as you are following the same content that you see on the screen. So far, we have not created any variables. Let's start creating a variable to store the age of yourself. You know, age is a whole number, which means usually when we say age, we don't say decimal points. Therefore, we can either go for short, integer, or long type of variables. For this case, let's stick to integer type. Age equal your age. Let's say you are 25 years old. If you recall the structure of creating variables, this is how it goes. As you can see, both of these types are correct. Integer, and this is also an integer. Make sure that this is a number that you put assigned to that particular variable. Now let's imagine a 1 year has already passed. So we want to increment the age by 1 year. So what we need to do is, in mathematical terms, what we need to use is the plus sign or the summation for another 1 year. So this is a mathematical operation which we talked under operators. So we use the operator of plus sign, and this is the one of the operands, first operand into this operator and the second operand to this operator. So this entire line, it's a mathematical expression. This is, we can also call it as a statement in Java. We will calculate the value as we are instructed here, but the resulting value will be ignored. Therefore, what we can do is we can assign that result value into a new variable. We also need to understand what is the resulting value data type. In this case, we know age is an integer number and the 1 is also an integer number. The resulting value will also must be integer value. In that case, we can safely say we need to assign this into an integer type result variable. So we can say the type of the variable of the result, let's call the new variable as current age. Current age equals then this particular expression. This is a new variable and it will not affect to the age variable we created here, but we use that variable. Let's say we assign a new value to age. This is a new expression, and whatever happened and whatever has been already calculated will not be modified or affected by this particular statement, because this line has already been executed. The executor executes line by line, and this line has been already executed. Therefore, the value that has got here, and again changing the value, and the next line of the variable of age will not affect the value for the current age. How do we get the birth year? Let's imagine we are in 2030. So let's write this expression 2030 minus current age. And what is the value that we will get from this mathematical expression? It is an Boolean point. Is it a Boolean value? Is it a character? Or is it a decimal point? Or is it a whole number? It's a whole number. So we can assign it to an integer type. This expression is a mathematical expression and it will be perfectly executed without any problem. But the problem is, as again like the current age, we have not assigned or captured that value. In this case, we need to assign it that expression value to a variable. Let's use a new variable with the type of integer. And let's say this is the answer we can assign this particular result derived from this particular mathematical expression. So if you want to print this result to the system out or the terminal, you can use this system.out.println and round brackets. Within the round brackets, you can say answer. It's a terminal or a CLI I have opened in my operating system. I'm going to navigate to the documents directory because this is where I have saved my box.java file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compile my Java file and then run that Java file to see the output of the answer variable. Let me list down the files in my current documents folder. I have only this box.java. Therefore, I'm going to use the Java C command, which I can compile this Java file into a bytecode file. So I should get a new generated class with the same file name as box, but the file extension has been changed to .class file. Let me list down the files what I have. You can see there are two files now, the box.class file and the box.java. Now I'm going to run that file, java space box. You only need to have the name. You don't need to say .class or .java. As you can see, we have the hello world being printed and also the answer as 2004. This value is of this variable is actually 26. When we subtract 26 from 2030, we get the 2004. Alright, my dear students, as we came to this end of this video, let's summarize what we have learned together. You understand 8 different primitive data types in Java. You know how to create Java variables and assign data values to those variables. You can perform simple mathematical calculations using those variables you can create. You also understand the difference between different data types and the allocations that those data types allocate in the memory. Last but not least, you understand how to write Java comments in your program. With that knowledge, I would invite you to join with me with the next video where we are going to write methods in Java programming language.